Welcome, everyone. On the Do Now today, you are looking at this cartoon talking about free speech, the umbrella covering all these different types of people, and you're trying to figure out what's the author's message. So, when we break down political cartoons, we're trying to figure out is the author praising someone or criticizing someone and why? And we got to look at things in the cartoon. What do they represent in real life? What do they represent in the real world? So if we look at this cartoon, we got lots of people, we got an umbrella, we got to figure out what these things mean. So we'll start with this guy in the middle. This is a cartoon of Uncle Sam. We've talked about him before. He's not a real person. He represents the United States or the US government. So when Uncle Sam is doing something in a cartoon, the author is saying that the US government is doing this. So the US government is holding an umbrella called freedom of speech. And what do umbrellas do? They protect us, right? Protect us from rain and stuff. So he's holding up an umbrella to protect our free speech. And all these different people's speech are being protected. Now, if we look at these different people, they're all symbols of different types of people in the real world. We have religious people, the LGBTQ community here. We have a businessman. We have a college student. We have all these different types of people. And what are they saying? They're saying, can you just move it so it doesn't cover them? And they're all pointing to different people. So what this means is that all these different types of people in the United States want to be under the umbrella, right? They want the protection of free speech, but they don't want other people protected. Right? And this is something very common in the United States is that people want freedoms and rights for themselves and people they like, but not people they don't like. And that's not really how this works. The umbrella either protects everyone or it protects no one. You can't only protect some people with freedom of speech. It's not like only certain people get it. Democrats get it and Republicans don't, or Republicans get it, Democrats don't. You can't pick and choose when freedom of speech is given to someone. It's either given to everyone or it's given to no one. So this author is criticizing Americans for wanting to be selective on who gets freedom of speech, and that's just not the way it works. Everyone gets to say their opinion, whether you like it or not. You don't have to listen to them. You don't have to agree with them, but they're allowed to say it. They're allowed to express it. In theory, freedom of speech should protect the speech you like the least. Right? That's the speech we need to hear, is the speech that the government doesn't want. Right? People should have the right to hear both sides, not just one side. Today we're still talking First Amendment. Here's our 5 components. We have religion, we have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble, and freedom to petition the government. Those are our 5 components. They should be in your notes from yesterday. Today we're going to look at controversies around the First Amendment. So you're going to be with a partner. I'm going to give you an example of a First Amendment, talk it over with your partner, and then we'll share it out. If you'd rather just type on the Pear Deck, that's fine too. So our first controversy is, are people allowed to burn American flags? Are you allowed to burn a flag? Is that a protected freedom of speech in this country? So talk with your partner, or if you're working alone, you can type a response on the Pear Deck. Hopefully you remember that, yes, you are allowed to burn American flags. It was one of our court cases from a few weeks ago. It was illegal. People would say the flag is a sacred symbol of America. It needs to be treated with respect. There's lots of different things for how you present it and how you treat it. But if you want to burn the flag as a symbolic speech that you don't like what America's doing, that is protected right. You are allowed to do that. Now, if you light a flag on fire and go running through a crowd of people, you're going to get arrested for causing harm and potential arson. But the fact that you burn the flag is not a problem. So if you want to burn a flag safely, that's not illegal. If you're planning to do it, I would tell you maybe let the fire department know, because someone's going to call on you and they're going to show up. All right, so let people know you plan to do it and there'll be no problem. Our next controversy: can the government ban films for violent or disturbing images? Right, can they ban a film because they say this is disturbing disgusting, violent stuff? Well, the government can restrict it. Right? We have different rating systems for who's allowed in to see it, who can rent it. Obviously, there's ways around that. But they don't straight up ban films. They're not going to come out and say, this is not allowed. This needs to be destroyed. No one's allowed to see it. So there's limits, but they don't straight up ban it. Do you think there should be restrictions around this? What sort of restrictions would you put in place if you could? Our next question, can the government make laws limiting the amount of money you can donate to someone running for office? So, you know, Biden and Trump are running for office. There are going to be a lot of other people too. That costs money. So people donate to their causes to try and get more awareness, to try and help them win elections. Should there be a limit on how much you can give? So as of right now, the Supreme Court ruled that no, there is no limit, and that companies can give as well. Like anyone can donate. That's symbolic speech. You're showing your support for a candidate by donating money. Do you think the government should make laws? What do you think? What's your opinion on this? Should we limit how much money someone can give to a politician to help them win their campaign? Next, can we make false advertising illegal? Can you lie about your advertisement? Is that freedom of speech? No, you cannot. That is still considered illegal. You cannot publish lies. Right? But it gets a little hard to like how is it? How much is illegal advertising? How much of it is false, right? I look at pictures of Burger King burgers and McDonald's burgers. That's not what I'm getting, right? They don't look the same. So it has to be within reason. It has to be a straight violation, right? They have to knowingly lie about it. Um, Saying like eating McDonald's helps you lose weight. Well, it's not going to, right? There was controversy with like Red Bull recently. Like Red Bull gives you wings. They don't really say that much anymore because people are suing. It's like, well, it's not actually giving me wings. It's not actually helping me fly. It's not actually giving me energy to be more physically active. Right? Um, so, what should we consider to be false advertising? Next, can the government stop white supremacists? So, white racist groups who want, you know, to be considered superior to everyone else. Are they allowed to march and protest on Martin Luther King Jr. Day? Can the government stop that? Technically, no, they cannot. Um, they cannot restrict your protest because of what you're saying. And you don't want the government to be able to do that, right? Because you're protesting against the government. So obviously, I shouldn't need the government's approval to protest, right? Everyone should be allowed to protest. As disgusting as it is, like white supremacists are allowed to protest. Now, the government can stop protests based on place and time, right? Because there's probably already a march for Martin Luther King and there's already going to be a parade and stuff. You can't go into someone else's parade and start protesting it, right? They can restrict you based on where you are and what's going on, but not because of what you're actually doing. Do you think the government should be able to shut down any protest? Like, what do you think it should take before they're allowed to shut down a protest? Next, are you allowed to protest against Walmart in their parking lot? Now, a lot of people think no because that's Walmart's property, which technically that's actually not true. Walmart's parking lots and Walmart's are two separate companies, which is really confusing. But even if it was Walmart property, parking lots are considered legally a little different. That it's open to everyone. Not everyone's allowed to go in the store, right? You're not allowed to go into Walmart and start causing a problem, but you can do stuff in the parking lot. And technically, that's open to everyone, not even just customers. So you can protest within their parking lot, but you can't disturb their business. You can't stop customers. You can't go into the property. Do you think the government should be stopping protesters when they're on private property? Next, should schools be allowed to suspend you for stuff you say online on social media. Can a school do that? The answer is yes, they can. This is going to be a big issue we're going to talk about next week. Um, Schools can absolutely suspend you for stuff you say on school media or on social media. Do you think they should, though? Does that sound fair to you? All right, so today's assignment is going to be on Schoology. You're going to pick different controversies around the First Amendment. You're going to summarize what's going on, and then what did the courts say, and then what do you think? So let me show you what this looks like. First Amendment controversies. It's in Wednesday's folder. Once you get it opened, I got a list of different links for you to click about the First Amendment, things from like Confederate flags to bumper stickers to tattoos, all different forms of First Amendment issues that have come up. You need to summarize what the controversy is all about, summarize the argument. Why did the government want to restrict free speech or for this freedom? Then summarize why people argued against that. Then tell me, what did the court decide? And then what's your opinion? And you're going to do it again, but you're going to pick another one, answer the same questions. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.